Hi, good morning. Tracy's Kitchen and Appalachian Adventures. How y'all doing today? I'm going to talk to you today in this video about the housing crunch. The housing crunch. And there is a housing crunch in America. I'm not talking about any other country. I'm not talking about Indonesia, the Philippines, Central America, the Arab nations, the African nations. I'm not talking about those nations. I don't live there. I'm talking about the American housing crunch. And there is a housing crunch. And you got to be real. But I'm going to preface this video to talk about something else. There are some idiots out there, stone idiots, that are calling me racist. First of all, these people don't know me at all. There are only about 1 or 2 people on this planet that even know me. I come from a town where everyone was starving. Blacks and whites were starving. So you tell me, how do I have time to be a racist if everybody's starving, including us? I went to a 4-year college university where there are students from probably at least 20 to 40 different nations. There are professors from probably at least 10 different nations. I have had acquaintances from a lot of different ethnic groups. The Philippines, the African nations, the Arab nations. So you tell me, how can I be racist? I'm real. I'm not racist, but I'm real. I have lived around other ethnic groups all of my life. All of my adult life. But I tell you what I am. Those idiots who are calling me racist don't know what they're talking about. But I tell you what I am. I am anti-cheating. I am anti-cheating on anything. Anti-cheating on tests, quizzes, excuse me, itching there, the federal government. Now, when I was in college, we had to sign a pledge every time we take a test, every time we take a quiz. I didn't cheat. Every time we wrote a research paper, we had to write a pledge. I didn't plagiarize. So I am conditioned by that. I am conditioned that it's wrong to cheat on any test, on any quiz, and it's particularly wrong to cheat on citizenship. I think that kind of gets under my skin a little bit. It is particularly wrong to cheat on citizenship. That is the highest of all cheating. And it is wrong to cheat the federal government. Now, some people come to this country illegally. They will stay here for 20 years. In the meantime, they're going to get food stamps, they're going to get housing, and they're going to get welfare. And any way you look at it, it's cheating. I don't care if the government supports them by giving them a welfare check, housing, and food stamps. Any way you look at it, it's cheating. You're cheating on the most precious of all things in any country, which is citizenship. You don't have a right to be in the country, so why are you in the country? I don't care. Well, you want a better life. We all want a better life. Now, blacks can't do that. If we cheat the federal government, we will be under the jail. Now, I'm going to talk about Central Americans. Now, I know the government pays for their housing. Because how can a Central American woman with no literary skills, cannot read, illiterate, no job skills, come here and live in a $900 apartment? $900 a month apartment. How does she do that? The government's giving her welfare. The government's paying for her housing. The government's paying for her food. We all know that. And they know it. Now, I'm in the real world. The Central Americans, they're going to get this under the table job where the income is not reportable. They get the jobs in dry cleaners, all that. They paid in cash, non-reportable cash. Now, Now, the refugees, on the other hand, they do have a right to be in the country because the government says they have a right to be in this country. Now, the government gives a lot of refugees a lot of benefits. They give them welfare, food stamps, housing. If they start a business, they are not taxed for 5 years. I know that's one of the few benefits of being a refugee. But this is what my question is. When did the illegals, or the refugees for that matter, when did they fight for civil rights? When did they march on Washington to fight for civil rights? Which one of their ancestors were lynched for being non-white? Which one of their female relatives were raped repeatedly? No, the Central Americans rape in their own country. They rape young girls in their own countries, 12 and 13 years old in their own country. Don't have to come to America to be raped by a white man. A 12, 13-year-old girl doesn't have to come to America to be raped by a white man. They can get raped right there in Central America this day. A young Sudanese girl between the ages of 12 and 14 does not have to come to America to be raped by a white man, a racist white man. She can get raped by her own people this day while the relatives hold her down. She can be raped by her jackleg husband. Okay? And there's a lot of other countries that are very savage like that. Rape young girls, rape children. Don't have to come to America to get raped. Not in Vietnam, Philippines, Cambodia, to name a few. Don't have to come to America to get raped. Get raped right in your own country. But I want to ask the illegals, when did you fight for civil rights? If you can name me one illegal person that fought for civil rights in this country, I'll send you $100 electronically. I'll send it to you. Give me the name. You name me one illegal whose relative fought in the Civil War, I'll give you another 100. You name me one illegal whose relative was lynched for being the wrong color, for being non-white, I'll give you another $100. You didn't earn your citizenship. The government says you don't have a right to be here, and you did not earn your citizenship. What blood did you shed in this country? What war did you fight in this country? Don't tell me about this, that. Your grandfather came here, cheated, went across the border and all that. I don't want to hear that. I want to ask you, what blood did you shed in this country? Now, I know the refugees and the illegals, when they get their welfare and their food stamps, $900. I know that they buy inventory for the stores, they buy inventory for the restaurants. I already know that. Now let's talk about the Central Americans. When the kids go to school, they bully the black kids, they bully the white kids. I see it because I walk. I walk quite a bit. I see the Central American kids bullying the white kids, bullying the black kids. They're either starting the fight, inciting the fight, or participating in the fight. And the irony is that they can't fight. That's the whole irony. That's probably why they use guns and knives, because they can't fight. I see stuff, because I walk a lot. People tell me stuff. This one school district used to be known in my day, in the early 80s, as a high-tech, high-achieving school district. Now that they've had these influx of illegals into the schools, it's now gang-infested. The kids aren't learning anything. I'm talking about the American kids, is gang-infested. Kids are getting killed. Who knows what else? But let's get back to the housing crunch. There are X amount of housing in this country. The government hasn't built any new government housing in probably 20 to 30 years. So there is only X amount of housing. The people who are doing construction are building high-end townhouses and high-end houses, etc. They are not building houses for ordinary people. There is only X amount of housing. There's only a little bit of government housing. So, in 2007, there was the construction industry collapsed. Now, when the illegals came in, the construction industry increased because the white contractors were saying, let's get real for a minute. The white contractors were saying, well, I don't have to pay anybody $10 or $15 an hour. I can pay the illegal $7 an hour, no benefits. Okay, and I have met a black contractor who said he hires illegals too. Now, so the question is, the federal government always have known that illegals come to this country. Nobody cared. The federal government never cared until Donald Trump came in office. Donald Trump wanted political power. He wanted the presidency. So he used the illegal immigration issue. But up to that point, the United States has never cared. The United States has never cared about all these illegals for at least since the 70s. Have not cared how many illegals are in this country. Okay? Now, how is the government going to handle 24 million illegals in this country? They're going to give them welfare. They're going to take Section 8 from the Americans, from the poor blacks and the poor whites, and they're going to give it to the illegals. Except they're not going to call it Section 8. It's called something else. Section 8 is where the government pays 100%. Read 100% of the rent. This other program that they are doing for illegals pays, Section 8 pays 80%. This other program that they have for the illegals, the government pays 100% of the rent. Read 100%, not 80%. But you have to understand there's only X amount of housing. Okay? So the landlords do not accept Section 8. But they will accept this 100% voucher. But they will not accept Section 8. So that deletes a whole lot of blacks, a whole lot of moderately income whites from getting into that housing, from getting into their apartment. I'm not racist, I'm real. I deal with the real world as I see it. I talk to poor people. I have taken senior citizens to this so-called Section 8 housing. I've taken young people to the housing department. They don't get nothing. Section 8 10-year waiting list. They don't get nothing. The housing complex, we don't do Section 8. Even though when I look at the housing complex, it's like 98% Central American. Well, how are the Central Americans getting in there? They don't work. I know because I see them in the nice housing complexes. They put the children on the bus and go back to their apartment. That's not working. When you go back to your apartment after you put your children on the bus, you're not cotton picking working. Okay? So how is it they can tell another young person who needs Section 8, we're not taking Section 8, and they're whole, very nice apartment complexes, not shacks. And they'll tell them, and yet, when you look around, it's like 98% Central American. They make Americans go through a credit check, background check, to get those apartments. Central Americans, all you got to do is have that 100% housing voucher. Okay? So, you got to look around. Some very nice housing complexes are 100% Central American. 100%. Because they want those housing vouchers. Those 100% housing vouchers. See, the problem with poor people is that we are not real. We're not real. We say, okay, we got a job, you think you got something. But you don't have nothing. You're not real. You don't own the house that you're living in. You don't even own the title deed to your car. So you don't own the car. You don't have any savings. Your spouse doesn't have any savings. And worst of all, your children don't have any savings. Your children don't have a trust fund. You don't even have $5 in the bank for your children. That's why when your child is 17, he goes to the streets. Because you, as a stupid parent, don't even have $200 in your 17-year-old's account to say, look, this is what I've been saving for you. So, you know what? That stupid idiot, he's going to go to the street to get some money. Because you as a stupid parent don't even have nothing to save for him or her. You know, poor people are never real. We're never realistic. They're going to give me some money someday. Who's going to give you some money someday? It's the white man's fault that I ain't got no money. It's not the white man's fault. You're too stupid to save it. And you're too stupid to buy property. It's not the white man's fault that you're stupid. Poor people must be real, and you must be honest with yourself. The government is not going to give any American any housing. You got to understand that. They're giving all the housing to the illegals and the refugees. You must understand that. There is only X amount of housing. They're not giving any to the American citizens. And you got to be real. They're only giving Americans $10 to $15 in food stamps. At the most $20. They're giving the illegals $900 in food stamps. $900. Poor people, you better go get yours. Stop relying on this broke, racist government who doesn't care whether you sink or swim. Let me tell you another example of a stupid American. They built a house. Oh, that's sweat. Okay. They built a house from the ground up. And they don't even own the land. How stupid is it? Why in the world would you build a house on property that you do not cotton pick it on? You're stupid. That's why you do it. You're stupid. I've never heard of that, but it does happen. That's so stupid. Of course, and then you're evicted from the house because you're evicted from the property because you don't own it. But how stupid is that to build a house on property that you don't own? That's too stupid for me. I did not say go get rich, because there are a lot of rich people who are dumb. There are a lot of people who are rich and dumb. And you know what? They pass that down to their children too. I know a pastor who's been bragging that he's making $300,000 a year for several years, and his kids don't have nothing to show for it. I know another pastor who's probably been making $100,000 for many years. His children don't have nothing to show for it. They broken in debt. See, that's passed down from parent to child. The parent knows nothing about money, and he passes down that stupidity to the children. The children don't know nothing about money. So when the children are grown, they're dumb and stupid and poor and broke. I can't tell you how many people I can name names that are broke. Rich and broke because they're rich and dumb. Poor people, we got to go get ours. Go get yours. Stop being dumb and stupid. Learn about money. But you know what? Like I said previously, the only thing worse than being rich and dumb is being poor and dumb. That's worse. Stop this reliance on the government. The government doesn't care about you if you are an American citizen. Stop being dumb and stupid about money. Have a nice day.